Well, hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Johnny and you're watching Hillbilly Modeling. And for this build, it's time to do a armored vehicle of a sort. And this is what I pulled out of the stash. So this is Trumpeters, Russian SAM-6 anti-aircraft missile in 1/35th scale. And I don't know about Trumpeters' interpretation here of the actual nomenclature for this vehicle, but in general, it's called a TEL, which is a transporter erector launcher with the SAM-6 missiles. But you know, what is semantics, right? Especially from a hillbilly. So now this is kit, if you can see here, 00361. And this is the end of the box. And then if we flip the box around, we can see that it is, they had these photographs here of the built-up model. So apparently we can build it with the missiles in the firing position or in the transport position. So that gives us a couple of options there. There is a little bit of description here for our launcher. And let's see, this end is the exact same as the other. And then on this side of the box, we have a colored line drawing. And this is just done in just the green color. I don't know what other patterns there are yet, but we'll find out when we get in the box. And it also says that it is suitable for ages over 14 only. So there's nothing on the back side of the box there. There is something I would like to do. I will put this up on the screen, and I'm just going to read this for you so you can see what Trumpeter has to say about this kit. It says, SAM-6 is a near-distance, inside-in, X-all-weather, inside-in a kind of mobile type low-altitude guided missile. Whew. The whole weapon system be shot by a guided missile car with the set system leads the radar car constitutes. Okay. Start researching to manufacture at the end of the 50s, 60s Middle Material Troops. In 1973, for the fourth time, Middle East War shotted down not a few Israeli planes with Syria and once with this kind of guided missile, Egypt. My interpretation is that is Syria and Egypt use this. Okay. Make to lead radar adoption, many wave bands, many frequency work. The anti-interference ability is strong. Play the path 340 millimeters of. Shoot heavy 604,000 grams of. Adopt the whole distance, half the active looking, 4 of making and leading way. The main weakness of the guided missile is to lead the system technique, not very advanced. Adopt the electronics of large quantity, take care of. The physical volume is big and consume the electricity many. Maintain the inconvenience with operate the low, etc. in automation. I hope you guys got that. So I put that up on the screen so you could read along with me. So, notwithstanding the translation, I'm sure it makes much more sense in Chinese or Mandarin. So with that, this kit was released in 2005, and this is the 2005 release. So let's go ahead and jump down on the bench and see what's inside the box. Okay, sorry about the glare there. I will say that this box is very well made. It is a kind of a light corrugated cardboard, and if I can get the top off of it, there we go. As you can see, very sturdy box, and we can see that they have it portioned off and well protected for the, I guess it's the upper and lower hull sections here and all of our spruce sections there. So they are bagged. It looks to be 2 sprues per bag. And we'll tear all these bags open and kind of look at all that. Here we have some missiles, road wheels, 2 sprues of that, and drive sprockets and what have you there, and hatches, some part handrails and stuff. 2 sprues of that. And then we have 2 sprues of tracks. Now these are the length and link style tracks, which I much prefer over the rubber band stuff. And then let's just go ahead and look here. There are, we got wire rope, there's a couple of springs, and some tubing. So we got that. We also have some photo etch here. That's nice. And our decal sheet, or decals. There we go. We'll tear that open. And got our upper hull and our lower hull. And we'll take a closer look at that later. We also have our instruction booklet and what appears to be a painting and marking guide. Let's see. Yeah, painting and marking guide. So we'll take a close look at that. All right, so that's pretty much what's in the box. So the first thing we'll take a look at these instructions here. That'll kind of help us identify the items that are on the sprues. We've got a nice line drawing here in grayscale of our Russia SAM-6 anti-aircraft missile. Read before assembly, of course. You should always do that. We also have a legend here that tells us what these little items here are to denote during the instructions, and we also have our decal application instructions here, and it would appear that they are water slide type decals. So, and it is a stapled book, stapled. So here, page 2 is our sprue map, and shows all the other accessories that comes with it, such as the tubing, the wire, and the springs and PE. Step 1 here, and you can freeze this at any time if you want to take a close look at it. We'll just go over it briefly here. It looks like we got a torsion bar type suspension with road wheel arms and road wheels. And this is a bathtub style hull. Drive sprockets and final drives, and our callouts here for our track construction. That is the length and link type of tracks. Step 3, our rear panel assembly there. Step 4, they have us build up the upper portion of the hull. But I will probably do it differently, hillbilly style. It doesn't appear that there is anything in here that needs to be attached from inside. So that's kind of an important thing to look at, because I feel it's just better to join your upper and lower hull pieces if you can. That way you can fix any seams or anything without having to worry about tearing all that stuff off. So just a hillbilly point of view there. And then the continuation of the upper hull assembly there. This is a PE part. Yeah. Very basic, very straightforward. We have some sort of fenderettes or storage boxes here that goes onto the front of the vehicle there. Step 7, the rear deck. Various pieces, PE, I guess, for the exhaust. And we have some sort of control rods here, probably for our erection mechanism, or probably the deck. Mine might be for the deck, because we do have them here on the front as well, probably for the front hatches there. And on to step 9. We continue on with the upper hull assembly. As you can see, there's a lot to put on that upper hull, and if you have a problem joining your upper and lower hull, you probably don't want to be tearing all this stuff off. So I will keep that in mind. So we also have a log here. Some sort of compressed gas bottles. That's what it appears to be. On over. Finally, in step 11, we're joining these two upper and lower hulls together. And then we move on to step 12, which is our guided bomb assembly, or better known as missiles. So the assembly of the missiles. Now I have seen where some other reviews post-build say that they do have problems with these fins. So we'll have to pay close attention to these when we go to assemble, see how well they go together. And then of course we have the turntable assembly here that'll have the missile rails, which we build up here in 14. They call it the launch pad assembly. Launch pad assembly. As good a terminology as any. And continue on step 15. This is probably where we decide whether or not we're going to be in the elevated position or not, launch position. Also, some of that tubing that will be used and connected up to our launchers. And some brackets, saddles. It says immobility rack. I'm assuming that's where it's fastened down for transport mode. And then we got our handrails to put on. Very different. Very interesting looking vehicle. That's it for the instructions. So that was just a quick breeze through. You can go back and look at that on the video if you want to see more detail. Next up we have our painting and marking guide. And so this is just the green. I think it's kind of a glossy paper there. Try to get that shine off of it there for you. So that's very simple. Pretty much everything's green. And then which decals to use on it. So this is, it doesn't say what unit. I do not see on there anywhere. Okay, well, that's the green version. And then we have the camouflage version. However, it seems to be two different versions. This one here, as you can see, we have different markings on our missiles. And then we have here. And this one is just in a brown, dark green, and a light green, or medium gray green. Medium gray green. And then this one here is the dark green. And red, brown, and green. Interesting. So they do give us a couple of options there. They do not show us, though, the top side of this, how the camouflage should look. So I guess you just kind of have to leave that up to yourself there when you go to paint it. Be a little creative with it. And we'll start looking at the parts. Now, this is the bathtub style lower hull. And 2005, made in China. We already knew that. Seems to be made pretty well. Lots of detail here on the bottom. We have belly plates with bolt detail. And then we have, of course, all of our mountings there for our road wheel arms. I imagine there's something to go over these blank open areas there. Some of the bump stops are already in place there. Suspension travel limiters, which is another way to say that, I guess. More complicated. And we also have some stiffening ribs here on the front of the vehicle. Actually pretty nicely molded. Yeah, I like that. Next up is the upper hull. As you can see here, we have a lot of these doors are molded into place and covers. And across the front of the vehicle. Nicely done. And here's the back. Now, one thing I do see is like right here, And you'll see this a lot on Trumpeter molds. It's a multi-mold or faceted mold that they use. Sometimes on the corners here, you will see that there are little areas to clean up. Not much, just a little bit of piece of flash there. And then this corner too, which will need to be cleaned up, I think. But all in all, it looks pretty good. And one of the things that I like to do is I'd like to check and see if this thing is actually going to fit or if it's warped. So it seems to go together really well. The only exception being on the front here. Going to require a little bit of filing or sanding here on the ends of those ribs, because they are holding the top of the vehicle from mating up. So something to look out for. And we'll take care of that when we go to build this. But all in all, the fit is really, really good. It's nice and tight. Looks good. So first up is our A sprues, and I was wrong. I said there were 2. There are actually 3 in there. So we have 3 A sprues. We only need to look at 1. They're all identical. So we have our missile halves here. Just a little bit of flash there, a little bit of, well, actually it would probably just melt. I think I just rubbed it off. So it's not that big a deal, is it? We have our Russian style road wheels here. And these are the guide fins for our missiles. And we have the other half of the body of the missile there. And I believe these are those transport, not a buckle, but a bracket to latch them down to the vehicle. Here would be the other half that we saw in our instructions. Some road wheel arms here. And I don't know what the rest of these pieces are, but this is part of the missile erection system there. Flip it over. I don't see anything that's going to give us any trouble yet. So the tip is molded into the missile all the way around. So there is no seam to have to deal with for the end of the tip, which is nice. It's easier to fill a seam if there is one crossways there than it would be to try to fill and sand and fix the entire profile there. So I'm glad Trumpeter did it that way. So there are 3 of these sprues. Sprue A. Next up we have sprue B, and there are 2 of these. So we have some more of our launcher here. We got a bolt detail on it. There's one of those compressed gas tanks there. Lights and drive sprockets with nice bolt detail. Hatches and access panels. There's a hatch, there's an access panel that goes on the front. We also have our little toe, the Soviet style, Russian style towing points. And of course, can't forget about these handrails. So these will go up on the launcher. So there's not much there, but what I do see looks pretty good. We do have our lights too. Yeah. 2 sprues of that. So next up is C sprue. And we have some of our tools are on here, covers, looks like vision blocks. And these, I don't know if these are for traction or if they're to protect the top of the vehicle. And then part of the arm. We have our the rear portion of the hull there. And these are the transport brackets, the rear deck. We got some slide molding there on the ends of our tow cable. That's nice. Some sort of linkage here. And of course we got a hammer and a axe. Just the parts that I can identify. And the final drive covers. Check the back side. I don't reckon we'll see too much here. So they have pretty much contained all of the ejector pin marks, if I can say it, here on the back side of the hatches and stuff. So that's nice. I really hate to have to clean stuff like that up. And kind of black right there. Oh, so this is going to have to be washed. It's some sort of release compound. So do wash and clean your trumpeter parts. We don't want anything to get in the way of our painting. I don't know why, but there's a large section of sprue missing here. Or it probably never was there. It was all slide molded. Yeah. Very nice. So that's sprue C. And now we're into sprue D. And this is the turntable or missile erection mechanism. So, and as you can see, we do have, if I can get the light just right, all this bolt detail. That should weather up nicely and look really good. So this will be the bottom portion of that turntable. We also have some sort of access panels there. Nice crisp teeth there. So this will be the top portion of the rotating table there. This is very, very Russian style, with the reinforcements pressed in, which tells you right off the bat that that would be really thin metal on the actual vehicle. Now, it's not an armored vehicle. It is a tracked vehicle. So, anyway, nice bolt detail and panels there. And it looks good. And again, they've hidden all of their ejector pins on the inside there. And then we have sprue E. There are two of these. And these are our track sections. Get you a close look there, if I can get it just right. I don't see any flash on these, which is great. And the way the sprue gates are right on the ends of the pins, it makes for easy cleanup. So let's flip it over and see what our surprise is, if there's any ejector pin marks on the back side. Well, surprisingly, very few. And they are right in the middle, so if you can see, like right there, a little bit right there, and they are recessed ejector pins, so and there's one in every single one of those little ones there. We could probably just sand those out and never be seen, but actually they look pretty good. The ones that are proud, some of them are proud of the surface, those will sand off easily. But the others may have to, some of them are kind of deep, so we may have to fill those. So you get two sprues of that, left side and right side track. Next up, we'll take a little look here at our PE parts. Now they are, they've got that clear tacky plastic here on either side. which really helps when you go to cut these parts loose. They don't go flinging off. But looks like we have an exhaust guard, and we have our saw, and then we have some brackets there, 2 eyelets which need to be bent. So the total parts, let's see, these 4 brackets need to be bent. These 2 need to be bent right on the, if you can see, right on the corners of them there where they've indicated the lines, and 4 regular brackets there. And then of course the guard itself is going to have to be bent into a half circle, half moon. So, but that's all the PE. If you hate PE, then you know there's not very much on this kit. So we'll put that back in the bag and keep it protected for now. Next up, we do have our tube and our copper tow cable. And there's a couple of springs in there too. I'm not going to open this because I would lose the springs, I'm sure. Kind of wonder what those springs are for. But the copper tow cable is a nice detail. And we'll see how we do with this tubing. It's pretty flexible, so it ought to be fine. It ought to be a nice addition to it. And it looks pretty much in scale for 1/35. And last but not least is our decals or decals. Kind of stuck. Oh, of course, it's taped on both ends. Let's see if I can free that without hurting myself. There we go. And they look to be nice. I don't see any misalignments or anything, or any true overlapping colors. A little bit of misalignment there on those decals right there, but that's kind of minor. We are talking Russian vehicles anyway. And they're about normal thickness. These are Trumpeter decals, so, and they're from 2005, so I don't know what success we're going to have with them, but hopefully they'll go on just fine. So those are nice. As long as they go on and we get them to lay down, that's all that counts, right? Those are our decals. And, well, that's everything that's in the kit there. Now, this vehicle is, it first went into production in 1967. So, and it's actually, there are a small number of these being used by the Ukraine Army to this day against the Russians during the Russian invasion. So, it does have longevity. And apparently it is effective, so I'm sure it has many, many, many upgrades. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Our SAM-6 Antiaircraft missile launcher TEL, which is the Transporter Erector launcher. So, and there we go. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you'd like to have this kit, again, the kit number is 00361, and look for it. They're not very expensive, so they can be had for less than $30. So we'll see how everything goes, and if everything goes well, then I'll recommend it. So, so special thanks to all my subscribers. It's because of you guys I keep making these videos. And if you are new to the channel and not a subscriber, I hope today I earned your subscription. So leave it in comments what you think of this vehicle, and if you've built it, I'd like to hear from you. Especially if you had issues, I'd like to hear about that before I get there. So, all right, that's all I have for today, and you guys stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.